Hey everyone, it's your professional sarcastic man and seeker of attention Chris here with a video on Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt Volume 2. The stakes are raised. If you're wondering about the title I've done for this video, it's two references, because they introduce Psycho Zaku, and it's a reference to the Psycho Killers, the Talking Head song Psycho Killer. That whole first line of that chorus. I'm not going to sing it because I can't pronounce the last bits, which I believe is supposed to be French. I think. Don't quote me on that, but thought it's a nice little reference. You know, Psycho Zaku, Psycho Killer, ha ha ha. But definitely in this, in Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt, I've definitely enjoyed it. Having very limited knowledge of Gundam, I did not feel lost, as I've said in the first volume, the first video I did for it. It definitely gets better, and the stakes are like 100% raised in the second volume, which is awesome. It's just so continuing on. The Moore Brotherhood ambushed ambushed the Living Dead division in their carrier. The Io's Gundam is decimating the hell out of them, and I gotta say, in these, like, as the action as it gets more dramatic, there's more action in it, the art style becomes 100% better, because I love the art style that Yasuo does. It's great, absolutely love it. And after the attack, Daryl has survived, but he's discovered he's lost a hand, and that's in this volume. That's a recurring. There's a lot of a recurring thing. It's just loss and sacrifice on both sides. Both sides suffer in this war, essentially, and them trying to fight against it, them trying to get above it, but. So Daryl has, despite the ambush, the Zeon forces have survived, and they're planning to use their new experimental Zaku, the Psycho Zaku. The one which Dr. Mitchum has created. The one problem is, the whole point of, like, being psycho, is that it's kind of, how would I say this? The pilot and Zaku are connected mentally, and the thing is, I'm trying to remember what it was. I'm drawing a blank on it. No, there it is. Daryl's remaining hand has to be cut off, because it can't. It doesn't have proper controls, so it's controlled by essentially controlled by prosthetics and, like, all the pilot's brain signals. So essentially, it acts as like another body. So, but for it to be 100% completely functional with the pilot has to have has to have both arms and legs removed for it to properly work. And Daryl has just survived. He just lost one arm, and to be the Living Dead division's pretty much their new hope, he has to sacrifice his other arm, as shown. Where is it? But before going to that, is Io is given command of all these young recruits, and he realizes it's just like, with throwing wasted life into this battle. And even Claudia Claudia knows that, and she's resorted to using drugs to deal with that trauma. as she said, like full scale assault, so many lives will be lost again. I understand it now why your father chose to kill himself. It's the easy way out because she thinks like suicide is the easy way out because she doesn't want to. She's in charge. She is the captain, and she's throwing all of these lives away for a war that essentially none of them wanted to be a part of, and she's come to understand. Your father committed suicide because it was the easiest way, and he didn't have to suffer anymore, and she can't the might the burden of command has severely affected her. And the thing is, she's only an acting captain. She's not a proper captain yet. She hasn't been properly promoted as such since their previous captain was killed. So straight away, she's thrown into a role she wasn't prepared for. And she's succumbing to the pressure of it, and she can't deal with it at all. And here we go. Here we go. Here's the scene. Here's the parts. Oops. This is hard to hold with one hand. Oh, shit. But I think I may have accidentally skipped it. But essentially, Daryl believes that since Daryl is their ace pilot, and it's their only chance left to win the war, he willingly allows his arm to be cut off. And Dr. Mitchum, who is shown to be she's very attached to everyone in the Living Dead division because she reveals that the only reason why she's part of this is because her father is imprisoned, and if she doesn't willingly help Zeon, the Principality of Zeon, her father will be killed instead of being left alive for the meantime. That's pretty much she's essentially being blackmailed to work for them, so she's suffering as well, and she's essentially kind of a mother to all of them. Like, she views them as her children, and how would I say this? She's essentially sending them to their deaths, and it affects her. Every time one of them dies, she feels like she dies along with them. And whoops, I didn't drop that. So like I said, loss and sacrifice is a huge theme in this volume. Everyone suffers, everyone makes a lot of sacrifices, everyone loses everything in this fight, and it all culminates to this huge battle between the Moore Brotherhood and the Living Dead division, and the rivalry between Daryl and Io, as they finally as Daryl shows off the force of the Psycho Zaku, and it's a badass. It is a badass scene. Just completely decimate their forces, and everyone's worried that the Moore Brotherhood is forced to evacuate their ships because they're being destroyed, while they've managed to surround the Living Dead division's ship to capture him. But Io is standing back and waiting for Daryl for their kind of assuming their final confrontation, and I'll end it there. 100% Gundam Thunderbolt is definitely, it gets better and better as I've read through the volume. And this is just the second volume so far, and it just pushes everything over 100. And I've said it before throughout this video and throughout the from the previous one. It connects. It wants you to feel something for both sides. Like I said, even with my limited knowledge of like Gundam, it doesn't show these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. These are all people that just happen to be fighting each other. They are all something. They are all suffering. I mean, they're all suffering because of this. So we want you to feel bad for everyone. There is an aside. You should particularly be fighting for, or barracking on to, like, you need to win because you are obviously the good guys in this situation. Like, no, war sucks. And this shows it very well, as everyone that takes a huge part in this war is suffering because of it. The pressure of it is destroying them essentially. And 100% Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt has shown this very well, very early on with Volume 1, very clearly with Volume 2. And I've definitely been enjoying this. It's been a long time since I've full on been engaged with and enjoyed a manga, and it's Gundam of everything. I wouldn't really expect it with Gundam. Something is just they're just robots. It's just a mech series. But 100%, you haven't picked up Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt, the manga, or even if you want to watch the anime series, I haven't watched it. I've just been sticking with the manga in the meantime. 100% pick it up. You are missing out on something great, in my opinion. And that's it for the video. Leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on Twitter, check out my previous videos, and I'll see you all next time.